Welcome, everybody, to this evening's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another show.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality, and we broadcast every Tuesday on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation on CIVL. And you can also catch us on all the major podcasting platforms. And if you're a fan of the show and you want to check out all of the back episodes, you can also go to drlesliephillips.com to do that. So we have a slightly different topic this evening for you. The topic is, you are the light of the world. And maybe that might sound a bit biblical to some of you, and it kind of is, except there's so many people who talked on this subject. I thought I'd start the show with a few different quotes from various people, and then we can chat about what does it mean, and how can you be the light of the world?
I don't know. That's why I came onto the show.
Oh, good. So apart from the biblical quotes, this is a really famous one by Marianne Williamson, and it's often attributed to Nelson Mandela because he included it in his inaugural address. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us the most. That's the short version of the quote.
It's true.
Yes, yeah. And then that quote goes on and it says, we ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And it's just such a wonderful statement. And I think it's very, very true that many of us are really frightened of standing in our light, in our brightness, and in our power. Sometimes it can be because we're afraid of what kind of attention that will draw. And I think it's actually quite common in our culture. You know, when kids are born into the world and they're very full of light, straight from God, little powerhouses. And sometimes that energy level is, the parents don't know what to do with it. And so they'll say, calm down, be quiet, behave yourself, and you'll get the wrong kind of attention for being your bright, boisterous self. So the programming to turn the light down starts really early in life for most people. And of course, then, you know, sometimes people have had traumatic experiences where they've been noticed and singled out for various reasons, that makes them want to hide their light. The next quote is from Eckhart Tolle. You are the light of the world. You are the consciousness that illuminates the world. Know yourself as that. And that's freedom, liberation, awakening, the end of suffering and madness. And it's happening here right now.
True.
Yeah, and that is a really great explanation of what so the most famous quote, or most famous two quotes, are from the Bible, where Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And also where he said, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others." So that Eckhart Tolle quote, I'll read it again. You are the light of the world. You are the consciousness that illuminates the world. And right there in that sentence, you are the consciousness that illuminates the world. That really describes what was being meant by Jesus. You are the consciousness that illuminates the world. Okay, know yourself as that. Because when you know yourself as that, as Eckhart Tolle says, that's freedom, liberation, and awakening, the end of suffering and the end of madness. And so you are light. You are spirit. You are high vibration energy. You are consciousness. You are infinite, eternal being with enormous power and light. And here you are, incarnated in the physical world. And you came here because you wanted to express that unique spark of divine light that you are. And the problem is, when we come into this world, it's through a veil of forgetting. So we come into the physical world and into polarity, and pretty soon we've forgotten that we are the light. We think we're something else. We wear the ego, we wear the personality and all the experiences we have in life. And if you ask most people, who are you? They wouldn't say, "I'm the light of the world," would they? They'd say, "I'm a doctor," or a mechanic, or a mother, or something like that. So we've forgotten that we are the light of the world and what it means to be the light of the world.
I think when you talked about earlier about being the light of the world, and that we're not, like Nelson Mandela said, we're not worried about not being enough. We're worried about being too much. I think the thing is, I think the key word there is responsibility. I think a lot of people are afraid of, if they step forward, that they'll be responsible for a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like teachers and spiritual teachers. A lot of people don't step into that role, even though they are capable and would like to. They just worry about the responsibility of helping others. It's like yourself, Dr. Leslie. You help people, but you've accepted that responsibility. So you are, in example, a light of the light of the world. You are the light of the world in your area, and you are the light of the world because you work with people all over the world, right?
I do, thank you. Well, you bring up an interesting point there about responsibility. And one of the principles, believe it or not, that I teach my students and I try to live by is actually that you are not responsible for anybody else. You are responsible for yourself. And when you're responsible for yourself, then you're responsible for bringing your light, for bringing your energy here into the world, and being your most brightest, beautiful self, right? Offering what you have to offer. Now, but you can't, each person has that responsibility for themselves, right? We can't, unless we're bringing up a child that isn't capable of looking after themselves, then you're not so being a spiritual teacher doesn't mean now taking on responsibility for the whole world and everybody in it. It's more about teaching them how to be the light that they are and take responsibility for shining that light. That's the way I would see the idea of responsibility. I have a few more quotes from well-known people. Actually, here's another Bible one. Once again, Jesus spoke to the people and said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in the darkness. That doesn't mean worship me as a guru. What that actually means is, whoever follows me, what that actually means is, I'm being an example of how to live and be in the world. I am showing you how to bring your light into the world. If you follow that example and bring your light into the world, then you will never walk in the darkness, right? So you have light that illuminates your life and extinguishes the darkness in your life. So he wasn't saying that because he was being responsible for everyone. He was saying that because he was a teacher and he wanted to teach everybody. Here's another quote from Francis of Assisi. All the darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. And when you think about it, it's true, isn't it?
Very
right?
true, yeah.
True. So a lot of people have this idea of, well, why bother? The world is in a mess. You know, why should I bother? What difference can I make? And that quote by Francis of Assisi tells you that you can make an enormous difference, right? A single candle, which is what you are, a single light, a single candle. In a dark room, you illuminate the dark room. You bring light. So when you bring your light into the world, you do make a difference in the world.
Very
You
true.
absolutely do.
Yeah. Well, I like one of the examples I love about that is we have these things called flashlights, right? You can walk into a room, you turn on a flashlight, and the room gets illuminated. But there's no such thing as a dark light. You can't go into a lit room with a dark light and turn it on and the room goes dark. There's no such thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Here's a quote from Martin Luther King. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I like that quote too.
Yeah, when you feel bad, if you're feeling sad, which is a darkness, if you're feeling unhappy, which is a darkness, if you're feeling angry, which is a darkness, one of the things I used to do was I would put my arms around whatever that was, whatever that negativity, whatever the dark feeling, whatever the darkness was, and just love it. And I know it sounds difficult to do, but if you just love it, just actually go into love, that darkness dissipates. That whole thing is gone. Nothing can stand in the way of love. Nothing can stand in the shadow of love and be there to grab you. You are there. You are love, and that's the only feeling and the only light. It's all light, right? You won't have darkness in you.
Yes.
It's very true.
I think in the second part of the show, we might even do a meditation like that.
Oh boy, that's exciting.
So we all get to shine our lights in the world. I had two more quotes actually. One, I'm going to read it because it's from Yogananda. And behold the immortal self resurrected with Christ in the light of illumination, present in every soul, every flower, every atom. So Yogananda said that. And he's talking about the light that is present in everything. We are the light. Everything is made of light. Everything is made of the one divine source of light. Every flower, every atom contains that, because ultimately it is all one thing, and that one thing is love and light. And this one, I don't know who this person is, but I found it and I thought, oh, that's a good one. The person is called John Hagee. I don't know who that is, but he said, "We are indeed the light of the world, but only if our switch is turned on." And I think that's so true.
That's a good
Because you
one.
can see
I
people,
haven't heard
can't
that
you,
one.
when a switch is not turned on?
I haven't heard that one before.
No, I haven't, but I think it's excellent. It's excellent. And it's describing people who have remembered that they're the light versus people who've forgotten that they are the light. So how is it possible to be the light and not realize you are the light? So I think it's to do with our reality experience, you know, that our world, the way it is these days, actually the way it's been for thousands of years, that it is very polarized, and we are, because we inhabit this world, there's always this and that, one thing compared to another. And so everything has an opposite. And often we're on the end, we can be on the end of a judgment or a criticism or an invalidation, right? Because you're being compared to something or other. And well, you're not as good as that. You're not good as that one. So there are all kinds of influences as we're growing up that can cause us to feel invalidated, unworthy, afraid, sad, in pain, traumatized. And these experiences, if we don't know how to heal them, and we've forgotten how to shine our light, then they build up over time. So things appear to get darker and darker and darker. And yeah, they call, in a way, that's sort of like a kind of veil in between us and our own light. That's the first part of the show. We do have to take a break for some advertisements, and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners. Tonight on Unlocking Your Truth, we're talking about the light of the world and the idea that you are the light of the world. But you may have forgotten it. But you're something else.
I have another little metaphor that I think most everybody's probably heard that and experienced it if you're in the metaphysical realm, and that's a candle. As you light another candle, doesn't lose its light. It actually gets bigger for a second, and there you can light any amount of candles and you don't lose your light. There's nothing taken from you. So sharing the light is not going to deplete you in any way, shape, or form. It won't tire you out. It won't make you feel, like you need to take a rest or anything like that. It just does the opposite. It enlightens you even more.
Right. And that also reminds me of that saying, and I probably can't remember it exactly, but where one or more are gathered in my name. Mm-hmm. So one light on its own versus two or three lights together has a higher amplitude, right? meaning that when we're together under a common purpose, we create more light.
Mm.
So,
It's interesting because we're pulling quotes from different religious sources and different metaphysical sources, and they all say basically the same thing, which I find interesting. So there's no one better or worse than any other when it comes to shining light.
yeah,
As a following or as a person or whatever, there's no one better or less. When you shine your light, you're shining your light, and it's the light. It's the whole aspect of universe and consciousness that you're working with.
yeah. And, when you bring your light, you're bringing your unique God light. So if we think about God or divine source is all things, and each of us is a fragment of that whole. And so each of us brings a unique perspective, is a unique frequency of light. And so if we don't shine our light, we deny the world of that brilliant, unique perspective, because there is only one of you. There's no one else quite like you with your unique flame, right? And so if everyone in the world would shine their unique light, it would be a magnificent symphony of souls. And another thing that tends to sometimes happen is people get into competition with each other. Your light is better than mine. You're better at this than I am, or I'm better at it than you are, or I'm richer, or I'm prettier, or whatever it is. And whenever we do that, whenever we get into a competition level with another human being, we're denying their light and we're denying our light, because you're unique. So why would you want to be somebody else? And they're unique. So why wouldn't you acknowledge and accept and respect that? So one day, as this planet evolves, perhaps we will all shine our unique light, and then we will become an enlightened species. In the meantime, I thought we might do a meditation to help us. Well, how can I shine my light in the world? How can I do that? So let's have a simple exercise to shine your light. And the first thing that I want to teach you is how to bring that light into the world, how to bring that light into your presence. Oh, hold on, Facebook people. We're going to have to pause because somehow Corey is always coming back. That was okay. I think we're back. So I would like to teach you through meditation about how to bring your light into the world. So what I'll invite you to do is close your eyes and take a nice long deep breath in. And a nice long deep breath out. Long deep breath in. And actually, as you breathe, if you focus on your body, it starts to focus your energy in the world, because your body exists in the world. And then, if you allow yourself to be aware of an energy center near the base of your spine, it's called your first chakra. and create an energy flow from there to the center of the planet, to the center of the world. So this is called a grounding cord, an energetic connection between your first chakra and the center of the world. So create an energy flow from near the base of your spine to the center of the earth. It's called a grounding cord. It helps you bring your light into the world. Your light is very bright. Your physical system is denser and slower. The grounding helps make it safe to bring your light into the world. And also it can help you if you have all of those barriers to shining your light. We were talking about some of them earlier. Then the grounding can help you to release anything that's in your way of shining your light. So be grounded, be connected to the earth, and also be releasing what is in your way of being enlightened, your way of channeling your light into the world. So as you release what it gets in your way of doing that, you can replace what you are releasing and letting go of with your light. And then if you bring your conscious awareness to the top of your head and just recognize you are light, you are spirit, you are not your body, but you can bring your light into the world by bringing it into your body. So right now, bring that light of consciousness that is you into the center of your head, so that you're grounded and you are centered. You are now the light of your life. Sitting here in the center of your head, you are now lighting the world with your unique divine consciousness. So let us expand what we're doing and also be aware of your heart center. And be aware of the love that you are, the love and light that you are. Light your lampstands, as it would say in Revelations, right? So be aware of your heart center and the love that is there. And if for some reason you find it challenging to feel love, simply think about somebody that you love, maybe a child or a pet, something that makes you feel that in your heart center. And then once you can connect with that love, focus on it and allow it to expand. Allow that light to shine brighter and brighter. Allow your heart to open and the light and life that you are to shine through. Allow that light to fill your chest. And then allow it to expand so big that it's all around you. So you can expand the love in your heart. You can expand the light that you are, so that you are immersed in love and light. And as Corey was saying before, it will dissolve or eliminate the darkness. It will help you to heal yourself and relieve yourself of anything that is not matching that vibration. So sit and enjoy sitting in this beautiful light and this beautiful love, and receive a healing and continue to be grounded, so that you continue to anchor this very powerful light that you are into the world. And as you do this, you are resonating in a certain way. And that is an invitation to others to follow you as the light that you are, meaning to ignite their own light within themselves. And if you're doing this, I'm sure that you might find that it's pretty challenging to be anything other than love if you sit in that energy. So love yourself and recognize yourself as the light that you are, because you truly are light. You can continue releasing any barriers to light down your grounding. And remember this, remember that you can sit in the center of your head, which is the seat of the soul in the human body. It's the place where your light is meant to be. That's actually where your pineal gland is, and your pineal gland is a light receptor because you are light. So this is how you can enlighten yourself, be the light of the world that you are, shine your unique light, and get to know yourself as that light. So I hope that those of you who joined in this meditation enjoyed it very much. It's very simple to do. It's one of my favorite meditations just because it's so simple to do. And it's a powerful healing as well.
That was lovely. Thank you, Dr. Leslie.
You're very welcome.
Beautiful. Beautiful. The internet didn't even drop out for that.
No, well, it did. I restarted it, well, a little bit, but you can cut that bit out from the recording.
Yeah, it's just a couple of seconds that it dropped out.
And you'll have to record this. You'll have to snip this out.
No. People are allowed to know that we have technical issues. We're only human. So go, folks, get your, I just put a notice, get your questions ready for Dr. Leslie and get them in. And if you're enjoying the show, save the interruption, give us a like, thumbs up, whatever you're on. And I think everybody that's on the show is probably subscribed. So what do you think, Dr. Leslie? Break time?
Yeah, let's take a break and then we'll come back and we'll answer people's questions. And if you're listening If you're listening on the podcast, then the final part of the show, we always open to questions, and you can ask about what we've been talking about, but you can ask about anything else as well. And to be in the live audience and get to do that, you need to join the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group or follow my YouTube channel. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hello again.
We've been talking about something gentle and yet profound. You are the light of the world. So don't hide your light under a bushel, because if you do, the world doesn't get to benefit from that light, that unique divine light that you are. So we're open for questions.
Oh, there's nothing on just yet. Takes people a few moments to get into throwing the questions on, if everybody's still out there. Yeah. That's Brian. Actually, Brian says that's like Neil Donald Walsh's quote: "A candle cannot know its own light without the darkness." Maybe not the exact quote, but
yeah, thank you for that. That's a good quote, isn't it? And it explains why we choose to be in this duality. Because if all you are is light, how do you ever know? You need a contrast. And that's what being on Earth is all about. It's about the contrast, so that you can discover the light that you are by exploring the contrast, and so that you can expand the light by exploring the contrast. Well, you know, one of the questions I get asked a lot by people is, or statements that people make is, I want to be authentic. I want to live my purpose. I want to know, why am I here? And believe it or not, what we've been talking about tonight does relate to that. Because if you are not shining your light, how can you be authentic? Right? If you are not grounded and if you are not present in your body, then what is being expressed is not you. What is being expressed is a bunch of programming, maybe some other people that you're channeling. It's not you. So what we just did to ground and to center is so important to help us live an authentic life, and also to live our purpose, to discover ourselves by being present, awake, and aware within the physical system and within the world. And so many people are actually not really grounded. And I'll give you an example, or a couple of examples, just so that if you're listening, you can understand a bit more about this. Have you ever gone out to go to the grocery store, to work, go to visit someone, right? And you're in your car, and you leave the house and you get in the car, and then you're at your destination and you don't have any memory of how you got from A to B. Why was that? You weren't shining your light. You weren't grounded. You weren't present. So many people are actually not really present in their lives at all. They're floating somewhere slightly out of the body. But if you ground, then you bring yourself to be present and more conscious. And if you do that, then you are more you are able to create in this world consciously. If you are not grounded and you are not present in your body, well, yeah, creations are happening around you, but they're unconscious. They're kind of by default, by whatever energy is running through you. But if you can ground and if you can center and be present in this reality, and if you can enlighten your form with the light that you are, then what reality does is it reflects that light that you are back at you. And so that is how you can achieve creating the reality that you prefer to create. Hopefully that makes sense. Still no questions or?
Yeah, I got another one for you.
Sounds good.
If you stall, if you just
Yes.
let a little time go, I would probably say I got another one for you. This is again from Brian. Brian says, Dr. Leslie, can you speak on the Bible quote that says, "He who has found his life will lose it, and he who has lost his life for my sake will find it"?
Oh, you might have to read that slower, Corey. Read it again.
Okay. He who has found his life will lose it, and he
Hang
who
on.
has
He who has found his life
will lose it,
will lose it.
and he who has lost his life for my sake will find it.
I'm writing it down because I'm not familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
He who has found his life will lose it, and he who has lost his life for my sake will find it. That's an interesting quote.
You've never heard that quote before?
No, give me a second. He who has found his life will lose it. So, I can't remember what way round it is. He who's found his life will lose it, and he who has lost his life will find it.
It's just another offshoot of being in the world but not of the world. Same difference.
You think that's how you would?
Well, what it actually refers to, in my understanding, during my Bible studies way back when, is that if you live your life as you know, the human lustful type of creature that we are, looking for all the things that we look for in life, you're going to lose eternal life. But if you give up this life on earth for Christ's sake, in other words, follow him, you will get eternal life.
So that sounds like it's a little bit religious.
It is. It's from the Bible.
No, but what I was attempting to do, and I will do it, is because there was an original teaching there from Christ, right? Which is not the translated meaning that perhaps a religion would offer. So let me just talk to him directly and see what he says about it. Well, actually, now I see that Brian has actually printed it, and there's a bit more than what you said. He who loses his life through death. He who finds his life in this world will eventually lose it through death.
That's not the actual quote, though.
Isn't it?
No, the actual quote is above. That's a adding some instructional verbiage to it. Yeah.
Well, okay. You have to give me a moment to look at this, guys. Sorry. I know it's a radio show, but I need just a moment to look at it. So he who has found his life will lose it. So if you are invested in this life, like I am the great hoo-ha, that is going to be over one day, right? So the true meaning of life is not in material possessions, fame, fortune, those kind of things, right? It is in finding the Christ within you, because the Christ within you is the light and life force that you truly are. So this world is illusory, and if we follow that as our prime thing, then we'll be disappointed in the end because we can't take it with us. If, however, we can find the true life and light that we are, then we find ourselves. That's kind of how I would translate it.
Yeah, and he Brian writes afterwards, he said, I always took it as finding our light and losing our personality. Finding our light and losing our personality.
Think you ever need to lose your personality? As long as you have a physical body, you kind of have a personality that goes along with it. But there are aspects of the cloak of the ego that because you can look at it this way, you can either be following the ego or the true self. And I think that quote is also about that. You know, are you going to follow the ego, the trappings of the ego, or are you going to find the true self within you? Maybe that's another way of saying it.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that the true light, your true light, is within you. It's not maybe, not possibly, but everybody has light within them. It's just a matter of choosing that light. And I think this is what this is a little bit about as well, this quote. It's not about going out to find it somewhere or to learn it or to try it or to do this. It's there. It's within you. You have it. You are the light. So let it shine. Let it shine. It's like that little song, Let It Shine.
Yeah, and that second part, he who has lost his life for my sake will find it. Yeah, he who's given up the trappings of the ego.
Yeah. Well, you can't be, like you say, your ego. You can't be fully invested in your ego and have your light shine. It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work that way. You're either invested in the ego or invested in the light. It's not personality, because your person, like Brian was saying, your personality shows up. I mean, either way, you're still you, who you are. But it's just you can't be, like you said, you can be in the world but not of the world, right? I think that the Christian or the philosophical quote.
Yeah, and the ego does get a bad rap, and we're using the word ego, but what we probably mean is what Eckhart Tolle calls the pain body, the false-made self, because there is always got to be some kind of anchor of personality that holds you here in the world. Right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't have the cloak of personality, the persona, then we all put on a kind of form and a personality to be here. Mm-hmm. But that personality can be corrupted, and that's the false made self. That's the negative ego, let's call it, maybe.
See, to me, my question would be, for my sake, we'll find it. And I don't think, I think that's where we lose. I think that's where we lose the translation in essence. It's not for Christ's sake, but for our sake, the consciousness, the universe consciousness. And it's about, again, about living your life in a conscious manner, and conscious and conscientious manner.
Yes. So again, it's back to that idea of the great spiritual teachers like Christ being an example. Was it, I am the way, the light, and the life? They are the way, they are an example. They're showing a way to be in the world, but that's a way to be that's open to all of us. And whether it's Christ or Buddha or Muhammad, because they're all great teachers who taught very similar things.
Yeah, Brian was saying it was shorthand. It's not losing the personality, but shedding that false self. Your translation really resonates. Hopefully, I didn't throw too much with too much with the quote.
I just needed to take a moment to tune into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
You're a student of the Bible as well, aren't you, Dr. Leslie? You've studied the Bible in the sense of
not in a religious way,
no.
But well, some of my training many years ago, over 20 years ago, was in a sort of spiritualist church, and that what I was doing was developing my clairvoyance and healing abilities. And one of the things that we learned to do was read the Bible from the center of the head. Read the Bible using your clairvoyance. So instead of translating it literally and using your intellect, you read the energy underlying it. So that way you can get to the original meaning before all the translation and before all the self-interest, because it's 2,000 years in things have changed in what is said in there. So we were interested in learning the wisdom in there without the indoctrination in there. So I wouldn't call myself a biblical scholar or
I didn't say that.
religious studier of the Bible.
Yes.
But there are spiritual teachings in there which can be unlocked using your intuition.
Yeah. Very true. Well, that's it, Dr. Leslie.
Well, thank you for those who joined us for this evening's show. And we'll be back next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah. And we'll see you all then. And yes, Brian, I know it's we've got that on the list. Thank you very much. We appreciate all your input.
Bye,
Take
everybody.
care.